Good morning. Today is the 4th of May, 2018. This is the nybbles.io daily programming stream. I'm Jeff, and I write code every day from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. Mountain Time, sometimes later. I stream it Monday through Saturday, and the continuing project here is Ryu, the arcade construction kit. And I am working to get us to version 1.0 of this particular piece of software, and I have big plans for it once I get it done. And so yeah, I'm trying to get that to its finish line here. Got a ways to go, but I am making progress, so that's good. And of course, last night I had more thoughts on things that I should add to my list here. One of the things I've been looking at in the background is, hey Romania Hate, I'm doing okay. Pretty tired today actually, and I have a really bad headache, but other than that, I'm okay. So I've been looking at Conan and migrating all the stuff I'm doing on the C and C++ side to Conan. But then as part of that process, I thought, okay, of the dependencies that I have, do I really need them? How much of them are, am I using? So I know Boost is one thing that I'm using variant, which there's a standard variant now. I don't know if they're really equivalent. I have to compare them. There is a file system implementation in 17, and I did eyeball that, and that one looks like it's mostly aligned with what Boost has to offer there. So like it has a path and it has exists and create directories and all that stuff. So I think most of what I'm doing here I could switch over to the standard file system stuff and it would be okay. The string algorithm, I'm not sure what that is. I'm guessing I think that's uppercase and lowercase. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not even using it for this file. So let's run the compile and see if that. Yeah, okay, so at least in that case, it wasn't being used. So that's good. Here's another one. No, yeah, so this is the two lower functionality. Let's see if there's something in the standard library that I could just swap those out for. Because some of these are simple, right? Excuse me. So C++ 17 to lower. So there is a standard to lower. But this is the old, yeah, this is the old-fashioned character version. Oh, Stack Overflow teams, yeah, go away. You can tell that Spolsky is trying to wring every last penny out of Stack Overflow before it implodes. Yeah, standard transform. We could do that, I guess, right? I mean, I guess we do have a string support. So I have some trim functions here. I could, I think, probably just make my own. So we'll have these be they'll just be in place. Hey, Decameron. Hey, Z Pneumatic. How's it going? Every time you assume characters are ASCII, God kills a kitten. Okay, cool. No worries. Well, so I got rid of one use case for boost. Oh, maybe, oh, this is too upper. Hey, G-Mon. Interval. That one I'm gonna have to. I probably have to write my own for that one. Boy, I did use this thing. Missed one. Let's make sure that still works. Oop, yeah, two uppers not working. Interesting. Oh, wait. I think I know why, maybe. Oh, I'm half asleep. Yep. Yeah, it's funny, like, right when I saw that, it's like in my mind's eye, I'm like, oh, I bet I just didn't change the callback. Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. It's all about snake case. Camel case, Pascal case. No. It's just, and that's, one thing about, seems like there's this modern trend in some programming languages where they sort of like, the language itself wants to force you to do that. Yeah, I don't like that. Any plans on the asset handling with GLTF or OpenGX? So I have to look up GLTX or GLTF. I'm not sure what that is. One thing to keep in mind with Ryu is that all of the editors inside of the tool, inside of the IDE, the serialization format that they use is assembly source files. So when you edit palettes, that gets saved to a text file that is assembly code, data directives. When you create tiles or sprites or backgrounds, all that stuff gets written to and read back from assembly source files. So that's the serialization format that I was planning to use for all of Ryu. Beyond that, the assembler does have a binary include directive, and I mean, in terms of the, like, if you just had a bunch of binary files in your project folder, so if I load up my project and I do this, now that looks right, This one here, right, where it says it's data, that's because this file is a binary file. It's foreign to Ryu, and so it's just a, ooh, that's not right. Oh, I know why. Never mind. Yeah, I never finished that part. I never finished the part that reads the file and shows it, so, okay. I'm like, what's going on? But anyway, so I don't know if that answers your question, Gmon, but I mean, in terms of Ryu, everything is assembly source code. And that just makes it easy because when you then to run your game, or you make any changes, you just run the assembler, and yeah, exactly. You just run the assembler, and it all goes into the virtual machine memory, and poof, there you go. Now behind the scenes, the emulator is going to take that data and it's going to convert it into things, probably SDL textures. And so, like for example, what I kind of roughly see happening is like our Midway MCR, video generator. It's going to, when the emulator is running, it's going to have a cache that is on the GPU that has some static SDL textures. So if data changes, it'll recreate the texture atlases for the tiles and for the sprites. It'll upload those to, set them on the GPU. And then for palettes and stuff, I'm planning to use a shader to implement that. And the tile engine in Ryu is going to be, quad based, right? So I'm just going to do triangle strips and, put the textures on them, and have the camera just looking straight at the flat surface of quads. So, I mean, there will be some, I guess you could call it modern asset management, but it will all be kind of cache based, and it'll all be handled automatically behind the scenes. Yeah, okay. GLTF. See, like Ryu is not, yes, it's going to use, it's 2D on 3D, but the 3D is literally just a triangle strip that creates a huge flat thing of quads, right? There's no other 3D models or anything. There's no, I don't know. So again, I'm now like thinking of trying to reduce dependencies on things. And if I were making a AAA 3D game, this looks cool, right? I mean, this is probably something that's worth using. For something like Ryu, since again, there are no 3D models, there are no materials. Yes, I'm going to have some shaders, but I can write about 50 lines of code to manage the shaders that I'm going to be using. Yeah, this looks like it'd be great for a AAA game. So I'll definitely keep it in mind, for larger projects down the road. just file system. It's just file system. I'm still pointing at the right version of usually local opt LLVM. This is version 600. Functional. Oh yeah, look, it's not in here. It is still under experimental, even in the latest version. All right. Yeah, because again, you got to remember most of these games don't actually have like fonts. They have tiles. So like if you look at Donkey Kong or you look at Timber, or you look at any of these older games, Pac-Man, doesn't matter, right? None of them had like dedicated fonts. They just drew tiles in the tile system that were fonts. And so if you wanted to put text on the screen, they were just tiles that you arranged however you needed to. So since all that's going to be tile based, then those will just work like tiles. It'll all go to assembly source code at that point. This. Oh, don't do that. Seriously? Oh, that sucks. And of course, now it starts to affect everything. At least I was mostly consistent with my aliasing. What do you mean conflicting path? You mean does it have a class name path? Yes. What you're seeing me do now is I'm using Boost file system and I'm replacing it with the standard. It's still experimental and playing file system, and I had aliases called FS to the Boost file system, but now I'm replacing that everywhere with the standard, and of course they're different types, right? The same names, but different types. So where I was trying to just change one thing, that header file spewed everywhere, and but that's okay because I was mostly, like I said, I was mostly consistent with my namespace alias. So most of this is just changing the header file and my namespace alias, and well, so the good news is this is going to get that's weird. Didn't I have that included already? I guess not. This sucks. See, why couldn't they just have conversion here, like Boost did? Okay. That dependency, well, a couple more. Hey, Slayer Darth. And of course there had to be one thing that Boost did that Excuse me. Maybe it was my code that was doing the conversion.
I think it was. Oh, crap.
Hey, RJ. Hi, stress test. Okay, so now I don't understand. Can't compare structures. Fucking slime. So, I mean, I have. Why all of a sudden is it not casting it?
You ready, Tracy? I sure am ready. Are you ready? Let's get going. Come on.
I don't want to have to hard code. I mean, that's just nasty. So where is it? There we go. Oh, GCC has it.
Oh my god.
See? Why are you using Boost, Jeff? Why aren't you using the standard stuff?
Well, you did it. Congratulations. You're on your way to looking and feeling fit, firm, and better than ever. Take care. Don't quit.
You need to link with C++ experimental. Of course, they call it this. Hi, Synox. The question is, though, welcome, Lexac. Yeah, this is becoming a rabbit hole very rapidly. Yeah. Hmm. Interesting. Okay, well, Guess it didn't have a version number. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to punt that one. That's gonna be, I mean, basically, I'm gonna have to spend time getting the code to be GCC 8 happy. And then Clang is, not yet there. So but I stashed those changes that I made, so at some point here in the near future, I will come back to it. So, when people say, why do you use Boost? Because it works. Because it's stable. Not that it doesn't have issues, everything has issues, but was it 8? Yeah, 810. So that's moved to the holy crap, that's gonna be big pile. And I'm gonna move the Conan stuff up here too. Because, yeah. Well, that was fun. Well, I guess I did get some value out of that exercise. I learned that I'm going to have to spend like the weekend running this thing through GCC 8 and trying to figure out how to make it happy. And that Clang is behind. And yeah, great stuff. I'm more and more becoming excited about creating my own language because of crap like this. Hi, goodbye smile. I remember him asking me that. I can't remember what the context was around it. Ah. Hey, Spoof. Interesting. Oh, wait a minute though. Ah, crap, how am I gonna do that? I just realized what the problem is. How am I gonna do that? Hey, Han Famous. I gotta take a really quick break. I will be right back.
Takeoff program starting now.
Okay, I'm brewing coffee here. Still not working. Phase 2 of the coffee brew. Hi, Dot Dreams. Gotta grab my coffee. Oh, crapola. I can tell the brain is not working right. That's still not right though. Interesting. Yeah, it's never. Excuse me. Now it works. Okay. It's really inefficient though. So, one of the downsides to what I did here is, so we build this list of views that's our render cache. So we're taking this hierarchy of views and we're flattening it up into a list so that I can just, so I can sort it and control the ordering. But then in the draw, we just loop through the list directly. So now I'm wondering if the rendered list should be something more complex than just the view list, which is standard vector of view pointers, because I'm wondering if during the collection process I can apply this logic then, right? So I can basically, what could I do? So during the collection loop, when we're building the render list, I could make this check and so I could have a special list that has a struct in it, and the struct has the pointer to the view, and it has a clipping rect, essentially. And then the clipping rect gets set based on whether the parent is clipping you or not. And then what that lets me do is in this loop I can get rid of this, right? And just push whatever the proper rectangle is, clipping rectangle is, based on what comes out of the list. And then, you know, pop that off when we're done. Wonder if this broke anything. Oh yeah. We lost our underlines for our text fields. Oh, and we're not getting a that's the other issue. I think the text box right now, I'm guessing, but I think the underline is it's outside of the bounds, which is a no-no. Really? Well, I'm drawing at the bottom. Forgot to put that back in. Okay, so yeah, bounds are off by 1, maybe? Because we're clipping to the client bounds on the parent. Oh, yeah, okay, so that's probably the layout engine that's busted. This will fix the line, the text input line on the pick list, but it won't fix the drop down part because that's outside of the bounds. So that's the other issue, is if you put a pick list inside of a panel, even when I replace the layout engine, that's still going to be a problem. Okay, so that still clips the way that it should. Yeah. And I'm batting 0 today. So I did that, but it's not really right. Hey, artificial intelligence. I do, yes, unfortunately. What are my goals for this project? Well, my primary goal was to build something that I felt like I wanted, but was not available in the market. Not really. There's lots of fantasy consoles and things like that, but typically they're very small and they're very limited. And I wanted something that I could build games that had some serious meat behind them. So I guess that was one. So I guess, to have fun, I thought it would be a fun project. And that I actually wanted the end result so that I could use it myself. But then secondarily, I'm a real big proponent of people learning assembly language. I think there's a lot of benefit to it, even though, you're probably never going to use it, day to day. Having that knowledge of how that works, I think, is very valuable, very important. But there's not great environments for doing that. So in my opinion, I thought, well, okay, I like games. I think everybody likes games. There's instant feedback. You feel like you're actually building something instead of just, doing simple exercises and looking at things in memory. So from an educational perspective, I thought that Ryu would be a great platform that would enable me to help people, learn how to write assembly code. So I guess those are my goals for the project. Do I need funding? If someone's willing to give me money, I'll take it. I'm not going to do anything for it, though. That's a difficult question to answer. This project is open source. It's not commercial. It's not something that I ever intend to sell or make money off of directly. Yeah, this is not commercial. This is open source. This is me giving stuff the community, and yeah. Now, could this project or any of the projects I do here have an indirect commercial application? Meaning, like, could they bring people in such that if there was something commercial I was doing eventually, that they might be interested in that? Possibly, right? So there might be a marketing or branding element that might come from it, but I'm kind of viewing those sort of things as they're not primary, they're just things that would happen, I guess. Helps if I can type. Okay, good. So it calls initialize, and it sets up a memory map entry. Beautiful. All right, that worked. Yay! One thing. One thing. I have written cell phone apps for our clients. I personally don't really have much interest in cell phone applications. I think they're a heavily competitive and commodity space, and the chance of making any money there, if you're talking about it purely from a commercial perspective, I think I wouldn't go there, but that's me. Hi, Potato passing by. I mean, honestly, yeah, the mobile market is, I've heard from many folks that I know in the game industry that it's just a big money pit, basically. I mean, you're rolling the dice. You might as well go to a casino and play craps. You might have better luck. And you know, on the low end of like professional games, so somewhere that's not, it's not like a guy in his basement making a game. It's more like a Zynga or some company that is putting some oomph behind it. I mean, you're realistically looking at a budget of maybe on the low end, 250,000 US for a production budget, all the way up into the millions for a production budget for a game, and your chances of making that money back are really low. Additionally, I am not a huge fan of how the monetization model in mobile has evolved. It's basically taking advantage of human frailty, and it's preying on the fact that people can't control themselves, and it's not their fault, right? I mean, it's people study human psychology, and they understand how they can people can become addicted even though they're not really getting anything for the money they're spending. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of in-app purchases and that whole model. Utility info, again, like most apps that are tied to some other larger service, they're free, and they're tied to some larger service. Some standalone app, I mean, again, I don't know. It depends on what the app is, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just too cynical, but I feel like that space has really been, people have dug for the gold there. And I don't think there's a lot of gold left. So it's like anything, right? In theory, without some concrete example of what you would be building, sure, could you make money in this space? Anything's possible. Is it probable? No. And certainly it's not probable at 99 cents, right? By the time Apple takes their cut, you pay taxes, there's no money there. So again, here's, you mentioned additional cash stream. I mean, here's what I would say, okay? And I have experience on both sides of this equation. Let's say you have a company that you start and you have employees, and let's just say you have 10 employees, and some of them are developers, some of them are graphic artists, some of them are admin people, okay? Let's say your payroll is about $100,000 a month. So that's a lot of cash, okay? So you go and, like you say, you need funding, you go find some VC or angel or somebody to give you some money. Now now you have other people's money in the equation, and now let's say you have some idea. Let's say you have an idea for a SaaS product, or you have an idea for an app, or whatever. Doesn't matter, really. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Well, your numbers are all skewed now, right? So, the idea of, hey, I'm just a guy and I work at home and I have these small little things that generate small amounts of money for me, and they're, I don't spend any time maintaining them. I don't have any employees, versus that example I just gave of, I have a company with 10 people and my payroll is $100,000 a month, plus I have other overhead, right? That's just payroll. So total overhead might be $120,000 or $130,000 a month. Well, you can't, now all of a sudden, the goal you have to hit is, you have to hit it out of the park, right? If you build a SaaS, it's not good enough to just get 200, paying customers or 100 paying customers, and you're making you're making 30 or 40 grand profit a year, but you're not doing anything. So that's great if it's just you. So if you did all the work, if you wrote all the code, you did all the graphic design, you did all the marketing, you did all the support, and you got a couple hundred paying customers, at that scale, that works. So your idea doesn't have to be revolutionary or unique, or doesn't even have to be hit worthy, right? I'm just a guy in a room and I built this thing and I spend maybe 1 hour a week supporting it and making sure it runs, then you're making extra income streams, right? But if you have a company with employees with high overhead, then you can't, it's not just, we got 200 users. It's, if you don't get 2,000 or 5,000, it's a fail, right? Because the scale is off. So. Yes, I've used pointers in C# applications. I have seen it quite often, actually. In what way do you mean probably not used for web stuff? It depends. Like I've written web applications in .NET where I've integrated like the Lua runtime. This was before things like, Moon Sharp and other, native C# implementations of runtimes were available. So I had to, p-invoke the native Lua runtime, and that was integrated into a web application or web framework. I've done other things similar to that. So, I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't or shouldn't, in my opinion. It just depends on what you're doing. So, yes, I've seen it, and I don't think there's a limitation per se. Obviously, you have to take into account the limitations of whatever it is you're p-invoking or whatever it is you're integrating with. Is it thread safe? Can you, how are you going to integrate it in with the garbage collector? In the sense that if you have .NET objects that have pointers to things, what happens when those things get finalized or they get garbage collected? You have to make sure that the resources on the native side are cleaned up. How hard is the process of getting an app approved? It's just follow their guidelines. They publish them on the web. Search Apple App Store guidelines. Read them. It's not a huge document. You can read it in probably 30 minutes or less. Follow the rules. Don't break the rules. Submit it to Apple. Some time will pass, and they'll approve it. And that's it. Mac Minis are fine. I actually have several Mac Minis floating around. I think they're fine machines. Obviously, it depends on what you're gonna do with it, but if you're just gonna use it for some coding or whatever, yeah, I mean, Mac Mini would be fine. Yeah, it should be fine. They're nice little machines. They work well. Welcome, Wyatt Miller from YouTube. I mean, really, in general, Apple's whole hardware line is behind. I mean, I just bought a MacBook Pro not that long ago, one of the Touch Bar models. I mean, it literally, the experience is the exact same with it as my other MacBook Pro. It really, they just have not changed substantially. It still has 16 gigs of RAM. It's just, Apple is behind the times. There's no doubt about it. And maybe some of that is Intel's fault because Intel can't deliver fast enough for what Apple wants. I don't know. But it has caused me to think about buying more non-Mac. Maybe. Size has never been a big thing for me. Yes, I think they are technically a bit thinner, but yeah. They made the trackpad larger. They keep making the damn trackpad larger, which I don't understand that, but there you go. Yeah, I mean I do the same thing with my MacBook Pro. I plug it into monitors and use external keyboards and mice, and it's just a portable computer. For me, it's occasionally I use it like a laptop, but it's pretty rare. Frickin' sea lion. Man. It does not run well in 5K. Yeah. No, seriously, I think if you get a Mac Mini, you're fine, right? If you want to learn development, you want to do Unixy type stuff, a Mac Mini, even though it's old, right, you're not going to pay that much for it, realistically. I mean, obviously, Macs are always, there's a premium there, but yeah, I think you'd be fine. Okay, so I added the clip flag, which is kind of half done. I've got the accessor and the mutator for it. And in the CPP file, right, the accessor just checks to see if the clip flag is set. Then the mutator checks, if you pass in true, it sets the flag, otherwise it clears it. And then in draw, I'd gotten the clipping to work, but it's not 100% the way it should be, and I think unfortunately some of this is tied to the layout stuff and all sorts of other wonderful jazz. So that's going to have to be wrapped into that. Text box, I'm subtracting 1 from the bottom. I'm going to revert that because that and pick list, because I shouldn't have to adjust the location on that. So like I said, I think with the clipping in place, it's because of the containing view. I think the layout engine is just, I just need to suck it up and do that refactoring when my head isn't like pounding like a jackhammer. The weather changed here, and whenever the weather changes, I'm assuming that's what it is. I don't know. So on integrated circuit, I added a public initialize and then a protected virtual uninitialize for subclasses to override in the in the integrated circuit implementation file. I added the type category to the metadata for RTTR, and then initialize just calls on initialize. The default on initialize does nothing. CPU override on initialize, and then I moved the memory map setup from the constructor, which was kind of a no-no, to the initialize override. So that's good. Div switch is the same, empty on initialize. Dock layout panel, I added a non-initialize for this to set the clip. That's probably going to change. I added the categories. So we have a circuit category, which is just everything: memory, CPU, video, audio input. And then these will end up getting renamed to be, or at least the video generator will get renamed to be the specific, right? Because each one of these is a unique ID. In palette editor, I added should clip. Same thing in panel. In registry, I added the code to, so I get the integrated circuit instance out of the variant that RTTR gives me. I call initialize on it, and then I return that pointer. And then in the to-do, I made some notes about some larger refactorings related to dependency management. I would like to cut down on the third-party dependencies. I'm cool with using the format library, obviously SDL. I want to get rid of Boost. Log for CPP, that's okay. So yeah, if we can keep it to and then RTTR, obviously. But when I tried this morning first thing, this presented some challenges, so I'm going to have to spend some time and clean that stuff up. I am gonna call it a day here. My head is really killing me. I don't typically have headaches this bad. Like I said, the weather here really changed dramatically, and I don't know. I'm assuming that's what it is, but I'm just feeling horrible. And I think I'm going to skip Saturday this week, just to kind of give myself a chance to maybe get over this. I don't want to get sick again. So I will plan to be back online Monday morning, and then we'll resume from there. And if I'm feeling up to it later today, I'll make another C tutorial video. If not, sometime between now and Monday, I'll make the 4th installment on the Donkey Kong series. And anyway, yeah. Did I check the Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't checked. What's it called? Discord. Sorry. I got tied up with some other stuff, and I haven't had a chance to take a look at it yet. So I'll have to look. Okay, everybody. Have a good weekend, and I will be back online Monday morning at 5 a.m. Talk to you then.